Canada's Wonderland is a Cedar Fair amusement park located in Vaughan, Ontario, about 25 miles north of downtown Toronto. It was the first major amusement park in Canada and is the country's largest. It's also the most visited seasonal amusement park in North America and has been for several years. In addition, Canada's Wonderland is tied for second in the world in the number of roller coasters at 17. I had the opportunity to visit this park this past fall and rode every adult coaster there. Let's talk about what I believe to be their top 10 coasters, those that didn't make the cut, and why. Right out of the gate, 3 of the park's roller coasters, Ghoster Coaster, Silver Streak, and Taxi Jam, are children's coasters, so we're throwing those out. Adults can ride Ghoster Coaster and Silver Streak without a child. They're also clones of the same coaster at other Cedar Fair parks. Ghoster Coaster is actually a pretty good little ride, and is definitely worth it for some nostalgia value. That takes us down to 14 roller coasters. The first 2 not making the top 10 are Time Warp and Flight Deck. Time Warp is a really cool looking coaster, but it is not a fun coaster to ride. It's a flying coaster that locks you in a metal cage and batters your entire body with its jerky movements the whole length of the ride. I consider this currently to be the worst coaster I've ever ridden. Flight Deck is a Vacaville suspended looping coaster, known in the coaster community as a hang and bang. Due to the uncomfortable over-the-shoulder restraints and overall roughness of these coasters, they definitely earn their nickname. Despite some great ride theming, I don't recommend you ride this more than once, just to experience it for yourself. Our last 2 coasters to fail to make our top 10 are the Mighty Canadian Mindbuster and Thunder Run. I really wanted to like Mighty Canadian Mindbuster. I love the name, and I love a good classic wooden roller coaster. Unfortunately, this is not a good classic wooden roller coaster. It kicks the snot out of you from the first hill to the finish, and it completely lives up to its nickname of Mighty Canadian Spinebuster. I believe this may have been a great coaster once, but in the end, the ravages of time come for us all. Thunder Run is weird, and I'm honestly not sure if it's even technically a roller coaster. It's a powered ride that really doesn't do much. It's a mine train, it makes 2 passes through Wonder Mountain, it has some strobe lights, and it's a really tight fit for 2 normal-sized adults. There really isn't anything else to say about it. That takes us to our top 10. At number 10 is Wonder Mountain's Guardian. This is an unusual ride, as it's really a combination of an interactive shooting dark ride and a coaster. You ride in a car with a gun and go through Wonder Mountain while shooting orcs and various other invaders. As long as you get a working gun, which the second time I rode it I did not, this is an enjoyable ride. Next at number 9 is the park's Vacaville Boomerang, the Bat. This is a standard Vacaville Boomerang, and isn't one of the smoother or better theme ones I've ridden, but it's still fun. You just know what to expect with these. Forward, backward, loop, cobra roll. Pretty wild going backwards.
Yeah.
Our number 8 roller coaster is Wild Beast, a wooden coaster which opened with the park in 1981. I'd heard that both of the old wooden coasters in the park were really rough, but I enjoyed this one. It's a little on the rough side, but it was still fun, and it wasn't nearly as unbearable as Mindbuster. I do recommend riding towards the front though. As with all wooden coasters, it does get rougher towards the back.
like that.
Coming in at number 7 is Dragonfire, Canada's Wonderland's very own Aero custom looping coaster. If you've ridden an Aero looping coaster before, and you probably have, you know that these are generally pretty rough, and have the hard over-the-head restraints which makes it worse. I liked this one though. It was fun and seemed a little smoother than most of the Aeros, especially when riding towards the front. Fun fact, this used to have 3 trains, but the third one was removed and is now used for the Bat. Next is our number 6 coaster, Backlot Stunt Coaster. This is a Premier Rides launch coaster that was originally themed to the movie The Italian Job and had some related pyrotechnics and theming. They've since removed those, and it definitely lost something as a result, but it's still a fun little ride. That initial launch is definitely more intense than you'd expect.
Nothing, apparently. Nothing at all. Eat my dirt.
Moving on, at number 5 is The Fly. This is your standard Mach Rides Wild Mouse roller coaster. You know what to expect. Drops, sharp turns, brakes. It isn't the most exciting thing in the world, but it also isn't a bad little coaster. It tries so hard.
Woo! We're not going to make this one. We'll never survive this last one. Thank God for trim brakes. Woo! Oh! Those are sturdy brakes, yes. Twice as thrilling as Leviathan.
You may unfasten your seatbelt.
Cedar Fair has a few different coasters called Vortex, and Canada's Wonderland's version comes in at number 4. This is an Aero steel suspended roller coaster, which is really similar to the Bat at Kings Island. Actually, I like this one a little better though, because it dives off of Wonder Mountain and mostly happens over the water. This is a really fun coaster, especially in the front seat.
We're going off the mountain. We're going over.
This takes us to our Tier 1 coasters, which are all outstanding. You can make a compelling argument for any one of these to be your favorite. For me, my number 3 is Behemoth, a B&M hypercoaster. I've never ridden a bad one. This one is fast, intense, and has a ton of airtime. If you visit Canada's Wonderland, you need to ride this multiple times.
Arms up, Becky. Oh, she's a beaut. Given to the very end.
At number 2, we have the B&M dive coaster Yukon Striker. This is the fastest, longest, and tallest dive coaster on the planet, and wow, is this a great coaster. A dive coaster is a roller coaster that initially hangs you over a 90-degree drop, staring down for several seconds before dropping you. Yukon Striker then dives straight into a tunnel that goes under the lake. It has 4 inversions, reaches 80 miles per hour, and has a first drop of 245 feet. This one is truly a can't miss.
Wow, what a view. Tallest dive coaster in the world. Whoa, feel that bad boy shake. Yeah! Woo!
This means our top coaster at Canada's Wonderland is Leviathan, B&M's first giga coaster, and the tallest and fastest roller coaster in Canada. It's tall, fast, has solid airtime. It basically shares the same characteristics as Behemoth, but it's taller and faster. We were lucky enough to go during Fright Fest, so we were able to get in a couple of night rides on this, which I highly recommend.
Here we go. Arms up for 100.
Overall, while Canada's Wonderland has a lot of roller coasters, the coaster lineup really isn't that great, as it's heavy with weaker coasters. There are really only 4 or so that I'm really excited about. That being said, this is still a great park. It's beautiful, has some great and different dining selections, and has the best flat ride collection of any park I've ever been to. But that is a story for another day. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to click the red subscribe button and the like button. You can also check us out on Instagram and Facebook.